Hi there, Phil Rogers, Lauren Hall here from Low Market Edge, coming to you with our weekly wrap. Lovely to be out and about. It looks a bit full on with the
Yeah, little jail
the
bars.
seriousness of the jail bars, but we are outdoors. If you can sort of see and out and enjoying the nice
It's actually quite a nice little courtyard, but
yes,
it just looks
Queensland, the
intense.
fierce Queensland winter that we're in right now. It is nice to just jump outside and say hello this week. So, what a week it's been. So, I thought we'd start firstly with some positive news because everything's been about probably interest rates, and people would say that's not so positive.
So you're going to do that bit then?
Yeah, correct. That's a bit I want to talk about. So, why don't you start? Well, no, we'll do some positive changes to self-employed clients for the financial year, which is really exciting. So we've seen a number of lenders over the last, I guess the last 2 years have been a bit crazy, but the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks where they've actually made some positive changes of how they're going to start to look at self-employed income. Some of the main changes there are really around isolating the 1 year financials. So traditionally, some banks would look at 2 years. They might average that two. They might take the lower of the two if it's greater than 20%. There's just all these rules in there, which gets really confusing. And obviously, during COVID, those got even more confusing because cash flow boosts and job keepers and everything. So as we come out the back of that, we're seeing a large number of the majors in particular come out, and we'll now isolate that 1 year. So it's great news for self-employed clients, especially coming into 2022, being a matter of weeks away, which is crazy. But meaning that we can really look at the true picture of what that business is now doing, and probably the recovery piece, and not where there may have been a gap for COVID and changes all through that, and as we start to really open up and come back to some normality, that's definitely one of the bigger positive changes we've seen in a while. We have another one with self-employed,
Did I?
which
Can't remember.
which involves the use of, over the last couple of years, it's been I'm going to say last 2 years with the COVID, with the cash flow boost, the job
that's
keepers, the maternity. That's right. You can't
Because
remember
you
it just
mentioned
because I
just
brought it
then.
up.
I thought that you talked about it.
So
Sorry.
what they had been doing over this period is whatever income it was minus cash flow boost, minus job. So any government incentives a self-employed client was receiving, pretty much 99.5% of banks would not accept that income at all during this period.
Made a big difference to the profit at the bottom that we could
Hugely.
use.
We got a client we was working with, and which probably triggered that last week, and there's sort of $450,000 worth of it wasn't all cash flow boost, but government incentives in those financials for last financial year. Now, that's the difference between being able to borrow money and not borrow money, clean and simple, right? So really good news for clients that have been in that position and had maybe a bit of feedback over the last couple of years where it was more difficult to borrow, that a lot of banks will now include that job keeper, will include that cash flow boost, and we'll just have one bottom line. Yeah, they've also changed some rules around depreciation as well. So they're trying to simplify things. So if you picture that we've now can isolate really that 1 year, and when I say isolate, it was, we'll consider that now it's back to policy. Yeah, we will look at that 1 year, irrespective of the variance on the year prior. They will look at that 1 year in isolation. They're going to add back, probably at this time, it's probably going to be more so the cash flow boost than job keepers in those
asset
financials.
Write-offs and
asset write-offs, depreciation changes. It's a game changer for self-employed clients. So really exciting time in this lead up to the financial year as well, where we can look at 21s, but we look at interims for 22s, and we go, hang on, we've actually painted a totally different position, which is more in line with the client's true current position as a business, and we can really focus on that for lending. So that's probably one of the biggest and sort of most positive changes we've seen around income for quite some time, definitely for self-employed clients. Some LVR changes.
Yes,
So I'll to you for the bad stuff.
I do know the answer to this one. So, a little bit of both, actually. So, interesting.
I'll do the good stuff. You just do the bad stuff.
I'll do the bad stuff. Yeah. So, interestingly, we've had a major in the last couple of weeks actually increase their loan-to-value ratio. So, for forever and a day, they've always been going up to 90% for new-to-bank clients. They'll now go up to 95%, which is awesome. But then on the other side, we've had another couple of banks, including majors, who have decided to restrict your loan to value ratio in a lot of postcodes. And to be honest, the Goldie we're pretty much the full Goldie with them,
Yeah.
up to about 90%. So they've gone back from 95 to 90, and then we've seen others go from 90 up
So
to
we've had
95.
that,
So
the Sunshine Coast,
Yeah.
period pretty much gone. The Gold Coast area gone for some banks, and they're restricted to sort of 90. Another bank's coming, will go to 95 in the same
95.
space,
Yeah.
right? So there's
Yeah.
I guess that difference between policy and appetite, and it's a constant update, and sort of every 3 months or so this tends to happen. But this has probably been the most serious change we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
Um,
And a lot of this is recent. This is in
Yeah.
the last few weeks, these changes. So really understanding what the type of property you're looking to purchase and where on the postcodes is really critical before making that decision around where you're going to go to from a bank point of view.
and understanding that a pre-approval that you may have had 3 weeks ago is no longer valid with that bank at that level of deposit. So really important conversation with your broker. Obviously we'd be able to tell you if that had happened.
You'd already know.
That's what we do. This would be delayed. This isn't live. This is delayed for you, but you appreciate hearing it again as a reminder. That was me. But with some other, and in particular, this FHLDS is going to wreak havoc in those postcodes, because if they don't lend up to 95, even with the FHLDS, it means some of those clients have to have a 10% deposit and be below 90. But we've got another major that'll do it in the same area at 95. So it's really just about knowing the landscape at the moment and making sure we help you keep the finger on the pulse at big time.
All banks do not lend money the same way. They are all different.
Is it possible to love your broker? Yes, it is. That's why. So more from the Good News Brokers. That's it for today. Short and sharp, huge updates. Well, actually, everyone knows interest rates change. You heard it first here a couple of weeks ago. But just to touch on that, understanding, those increases yet to come in, but majority of banks have moved by the 0.50. So lots of conversations around fixed and variable and what's best for me. And it is really about what's best for you, not what everybody's doing, right? So we maybe next week we'll put a couple of examples together for some of the stuff we've been doing with clients at the moment. And we'll talk about some fixed and some variable. I'll do the good news part, you do the other part.
We'll put that on your homework list for the week.
So we'll talk a little bit about next week. Have a great week in the meantime. Enjoy the change of weather, and bye for now.
Bye.